Jackson in the key. Kick out. Davenport.
A steal for Kentucky. Ahead to Reeves. Left wing three. Got it. Jackson weaves.
A dunk. Bounces off the 80 and he slams it home.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the student section. This is a YouTube channel all about SEC men's basketball. So I'm gonna be posting an episode once a week. I'm sure most of you guys probably know that by now. My 10 loyal viewers. And like I said, the premise of the video is I have a little short segment that I wanted to bring in. I mentioned it last episode, so if you guys know what I'm talking about, hopefully you'll be excited for it. It's coming up anyways, just in a few minutes, so you'll be able to see the new segment anyways. And then I'm going to be covering last week's game and then not really predicting, but just giving kind of my own insight on the future games coming up next week. I'm trying to find a day to upload because there's pretty much games every day of the week except for Sunday, but I can't record and upload Sunday because that's a busy day for me. I'm thinking either Friday or Tuesday, or maybe Monday. I might try and upload Monday. We'll just have to see on that because that's kind of the start of the week for most people. But yeah, I'm still just trying to figure out a schedule, but I'll get it figured out hopefully soon. I got a little haircut. It's not the best one I've ever had, but it's better than what my hair looked like before. So shout out to the barber. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to mention. Oh, yeah. Okay, so basically my goal is whenever I'm covering games from this past week, I want to cover each team at least once. At least one game for each team, because I think each team plays about 2 games a week. That's usually average, and I'm not going to be able to cover all 32 games each week, because then I'll have to cover 32 games and then predict 32 games. That's too much to do in one episode. I'm going to try and cover at least each team, even if it's just for a short amount of time. And there is a good chance I might not recap on any of your team's games if they weren't exciting. And I might not preview them either if they're not very exciting. So there's a chance your team might not be mentioned in the recap or the preview, but they're going to be mentioned at least one of the two. I'll try my best with that. If they aren't, leave a comment down below. And last episode, the first episode actually, I think, I mentioned I don't want this to be the student section podcast anymore. So if I ever say podcast in the video and I don't catch myself and correct it, comment down below. First person to comment, I will Venmo $1. Or Cash App, actually. I'll Cash App you $1. All right, so as I mentioned, there is a new segment in my videos. And I'm very, very excited to announce it because this is something I actually not care a lot about, but, well, I care a lot about it, but I'm really excited for it because I think it adds so much more entertainment value to these videos. And that segment is called... Drum roll. Nah, I'm just kidding. Sorry, that was kind of cringe. But the segment is called The Top 5, and in small subtitles, it is called The Top 5 Plays of the Week. But the actual name of the segment, I'm going to be referring to it as The Top 5. So you guys can look forward to that each episode. So let's just get right into it without any further ado. Speaking of ado, the first play of the week is Adu Thiero with Arkansas. Let's get this clip rolling. You can see number 3 right here on the wing, catches it, drives, gets his head at the rim, rocks the rim, gets the crowd going. While this isn't the flashiest dunk, we'll get this little replay. It's not the flashiest dunk, but the fact that he's getting his head at the rim, he's looking down into the rim. This is one of Coach Cal's biggest transfers from Kentucky. He's a guy who does everything on the court. This was just exciting, seeing the atmosphere of the stadium. It's one of my, it makes a top 5. It could be a homer pick. I don't really care that much if you guys think it's a homer pick, because this is my channel. I am an Arkansas fan, but I'm gonna try and not be biased. I'm gonna try and give every team their love. So moving on, we have LSU. They get this little breakaway steal versus ULM. We get the dish off to the G Bailey with the semi-poster, a little body. You can see right here in this replay, he gets a little bit of that body contact. So that counts as a poster. He just postered someone, which is why this makes the number 4 spot. It's not any higher because it is a semi-poster, although it does count as a full poster, even though I'm calling it a semi-poster. Moving on to the third top play of the week at the number 3 spot, we have Auburn. Rebounding that miss, Dylan Cardwell gets the pass out to the rookie, the freshman Ja'Kai Howard with the windmill dunk, gets the crowd going. I was talking about the Arkansas crowd. This Auburn crowd was amazing against Vermont. And Vermont's, I'm going to talk about them here in a second. They're not the best team, and this crowd was going crazy. You can see in this clip of the student section, they were going crazy for it. So that is the number 3 play of the week. Number 2, we have Mississippi State versus West Georgia. We get the steal. Warren gets the steal, gets the pass off the backboard to Sean Jones Jr. That also counts as a poster, even though we're going to see in this replay it was a little fabricated. It's kind of funny, though. We see the lob off the window right here. He catches it, gets the kick in the face, the karate kick. I don't know if that's intentional or not. It kind of looks intentional. It's funny to me, so I'm not mad at it. It's pretty funny. Maybe he was trying to avoid him. Maybe he thought he was a little closer trying to get that leg over him, but he definitely kicked him in the face, and that is a funny clip to me. But anyway, off the glass, that's a good top play. And then number 1, I think this one was unarguable. You can't disagree with this one. We have Lindenwood versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a new SEC team. We get the bounce pass to Godwin for the this is a real posterizing dunk. He bodies the dude. He is wanted for murder currently in the state of Oklahoma. He has warrants out for his arrest. So if you see him, make sure you call the police. Get that money. I think he is wanted. They have a bounty for I don't know. I'm going to stop doing this bit. But that's a crazy play right there, which comes in at the number 1 spot for the week. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the new segment. I hope you guys enjoyed the graphics on the screen. You know, the title screen, all that stuff. If you guys don't know, I do all of the graphic design for this channel because I'm not about to go and pay someone. I don't make enough money. I work a real job and I go to school. So I cannot afford to pay someone for these graphics. So all the logos, all the banners, the intro, the outro, all that stuff for my channel, I do all of that. So if you like it, give your boy a shout. And if you don't like it, I'm not a professional at that stuff. So that's the best we're going to get for now until you guys start donating money. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so moving on to the review of last week. I think I'm going to just start off with I'll just start off with Alabama versus UNC Asheville. There's not much to say. Alabama, they're the team we thought they were. They are a super deep team. Every player on the court in this game, everyone looked good. I didn't feel like there was any players that looked bad. I'm trying to pull up the box score. Here we go, statistics. Okay, cool. So their leading scorer was, Mark Sears, as expected, putting up 20 points. You got Clifford Amarui, 16 points for the center. Latrell Wright looked really good this game. Aiden Holloway, I was surprised with how many guards they have on this team. I was surprised at what he was able to do. LeBaron Filan, I'm going to talk about him here in a little bit because I do have one thing I want to talk about regarding this. Overall, just a really good game. They shot really efficient. I believe they shot, it's not showing me percentages. Great. I know they shot really well from the field. Oh, here we go. Okay. They shot 63% from the field. 3-point percentages at 44, which are both incredibly high percentages. Only 70% from the line, but that's about an average for a team. Putting up 110 points in a college game is ridiculous. There's not much else to say about the game other than Alabama's really, really good. The next game we have is Tennessee versus Gardner-Webb. Not much to talk about there. Zakai Ziegler looked really good. I'm just going to kind of move on. Their center play looked really good. They're going to be a good team like I predicted. Next game I'm going to talk about is Texas A&M versus UCF. I'm a little embarrassed because I did say Texas A&M was going to be the second overall in the SEC, which is still possible because for those of you who don't know, the SEC rankings only apply for SEC games. So whenever an SEC team plays an SEC team, that ranking only applies for the SEC rankings. Makes sense. So technically they still have that. They don't really have a loss in SEC play, so they could still make it there. I am aware that predicting Texas A&M was a little bit of a stretch at number 2. The other games, I don't think there's really any other games. Kentucky looked really good. They had a fluid offense. Not much to say there. Florida, it was a tight game against South Florida, so there's not much you can say about it. Ohio State upsetting Texas was a big one. There are some performances I'm going to talk about here in a second. Ole Miss, I wasn't able to watch much of that game. I do remember them playing good. I remember them winning. Here's another game that was really kind of scary. I'm going to talk about this more here in a second, but South Carolina versus North Florida, they lose by 3 points. Not much to say about that one, except for what I'm going to say in an upcoming, not segment, but next part of this video, which is going to be the main part of the video. We have Georgia. Did I talk about Mississippi State? Looked really good. Josh Hubbard is unstoppable. He's looking even better than his freshman season somehow. We have Georgia. They looked really good with all their new pieces. Vanderbilt got the 102 points win versus Maryland Eastern Shore. I mean, yeah, that's not a good team, but 102 points in a college game is crazy, especially since I predicted them being the worst team in the SEC. I'm looking wrong in a couple of my predictions. Missouri lost to Memphis. It was just a tough game for Missouri. Memphis has got some dogs over there. And then Oklahoma beat Lindenwood. They were also a team I said was going to be really bad, and they nearly put up 100 points. So my predictions are looking a little weird right now. We will just have to wait and see. But that segment I was mentioning, I'm going to talk about, it's going to be called Overreact. There's not really actually a name for it. I'm just going to be talking about whether teams should be overreacting or not overreacting to what happened this previous week. Starting off, the team I want to talk about first is Texas A&M. I would not overreact to this loss. You guys didn't shoot the ball very good, especially in that fourth quarter. You guys could not make a shot. I know that last possession you guys got like 3 offensive rebounds and still couldn't make the game-winning shot. UCF played really, really good. UCF is a good team, even though they're not ranked. They're a really good team. So this isn't anything to be upset about. I mean, obviously you want to win every game you can, but I mean, you only got 13 points from Wade Taylor. Henry Coleman only put up 6 points. He only got 6 rebounds. This isn't the greatest game you would normally see out of this team. You only got 4 points from Anderson Garcia. Solomon Washington only put up 6. So you can look optimistically at this game. They're not going to score like this every game. The positives you can look at is the rebounding numbers. They put up 43 rebounds. They only had 13 assists. They only had 4 steals, 3 blocks. Those are about average numbers with 12 turnovers. Turnovers are very high. That is not going to be a normal thing. And the field goal percentages are both very low with 36% from the field and only 30 from 3. I would expect those averages to rise up. So Texas A&M, do not overreact to this loss. Do not think your season is over, because it is nowhere near that. The next game I want to talk about is Texas losing to Ohio State. This is Ohio State did play very good. I will give them that. But, I mean, you didn't get who is probably going to end up being one of your top scorers, Tremont Mark. He wasn't in the game. I believe he's injured right now. And Trey Johnson, this is the positive I'm going to talk about. He put up 29 points his very first game as a freshman, real game, not exhibition games. And then the next leading scorer is only 10 points. You get 10 points from Arthur Kaluma and then Caden Shedrick. After that, you get 8 points, 8 points, 5, 2. You only put up 72 points, and you should put up more points than this. Same thing with Texas A&M. You shot poor from the field, 25% from 3, and that number would be a lot lower if it wasn't for Trey Johnson shooting 50% from the field. I'm going to talk about him a lot more later. Basically, just the same story as Texas A&M. You're not going to not score like that anymore for the rest of the season. This is just kind of going to be an outlier. What else? South Carolina. This team, I would overreact to this game because, like I mentioned in my ranking video, it is basically Colin Murray Boyles versus the world. Let me just check the stats real quick. I don't think anyone else really did much in this game. I know Colin Murray Boyles put up 17 points. You get 12 from Jacoby Wright, and then you also get 12 from Jamari Thomas, 12 from Zachary Davis. So there is a little bit of a spread out in terms of scoring, but I mean, Colin Murray Boyles put up 17-7 and only had 1 assist. He did end up getting 2 steals and 4 blocks. I'm telling you, South Carolina, this guy, you guys should be glad you kept him. Nick Pringle didn't give up too much production, only 3 points in 22 minutes. He did get 9 rebounds, which is a plus, but you kind of want a little more scoring out of him out of that big man role, considering you guys don't have the greatest big man play this year. And I'm not counting Colin Murray Boyles as a big man. The next game I want to talk about is, I think I'm gonna talk about Alabama's win. No, I'm gonna talk about Kentucky's win because I think Kentucky is in a weird state right now. They ended up winning 102 to. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong team right now. Okay, yeah, Kentucky. You guys ended up winning 103-62, which is, I mean, you won by more than 40 points, 41 points to be exact. Hopefully my math is correct there. You get 21 points from Otega Owe. You get 18 from Kobe Brea. You get 14 from Lamont Butler. There is a lot of scoring on this team. That is not the thing what I was going to say about this team, do not overreact to this win. In the sense that The team you played is god awful. I believe they only shot like they shoot like 15% from three. They shot like 5 for 27. So I think that's 18% from three. They shot like 23% from the field. And this wasn't a case of you guys forcing misses, playing good defense. They took a lot of open shots. They took a lot of shots early in the shot clock. It's not like you guys were making them take bad shots at the end of the shot clock. A lot of open threes, a lot of early shot threes that were open. They just weren't making them. This was an atrocious watch if you're not a Kentucky fan. Because if you're a Kentucky fan, we're playing amazing, which you were. I'm not downplaying this win at all. I'm just saying don't expect your team to consistently play this good. Because the other team was atrocious. It was a very hard watch as a neutral fan. So I just want to get that out of the way. I think Alabama, react however you want. This team is good. I think this is a true win. There's not really much to say. Your team played amazing. The other team, I mean, once again, this is another mid-major school. A lot of these are just mid-major schools, so you don't expect much out of them. But beating a team by 60 points, basically, it's amazing. Tennessee also won by a lot of points. There's not much to say there because it's another mid-major school. Chaz Lanier looked great. Moving on to these Wednesday games, I believe. Okay, yeah, so the team I don't want to overreact is Auburn. Do not overreact to this win because the team you played was terrible, another terrible team. Now, like I said with the previous game, I'm not downplaying this win at all because you get 21 points from Miles Kelly, who I'm very high on. I love the performance you got from Chaney Johnson. He put timely bucket after timely bucket, which I guess there's not really timely buckets if you're winning by 30, but he gets those 9 rebounds. You get 4 assists from Todd Pettiford, who didn't end up scoring at all this game. He fouled out with 5 fouls, which is... It sucks for a freshman debut, but you kind of expect that high level of fouls from freshmen. I love the points, the performance you got from Chad Baker-Mazara. He shot 42% from the three-point line, 77% from three from Miles Kelly, and 67% from Denver Jones. Those are amazing percentages you love to see. But like I said, the team you played couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. This was another atrocious offensive performance from a mid-major school. It was disgusting. And it was another thing this is almost an identical game, in my opinion, to Kentucky, because this mid-major school, they were getting open shots. They were early in the shot clock. They weren't rushing shots. They were open. They just weren't falling. So don't get on a high horse, Kentucky and Auburn fans, because these teams you played were atrocious. They could not make any shots. I know Auburn does play Houston Saturday, I believe. That is going to be a tough game. We'll kind of get a real look at how Auburn really is based off of that game. I would not use this game as a measure for how good Auburn is going to be. And they're going to be a good team. I'm not saying they're going to be bad at all. I think they're going to be ranked all season, but I would not overreact to this game. Arkansas beat Lipscomb by 16 points. I just want to say real quick, Kentucky fans, every single time Arkansas posts anything, whether it's a press conference, a social media post, a highlight, anything, the comments are filled with, "I'm so glad we got rid of Coach Cal." There's more Kentucky fans talking about how much they don't like Coach Cal versus Arkansas fans talking about how good this team is. First off, Arkansas never has good high level talent. The last high level talent we had really ever for like the longest time was this season whenever we had Nick Smith Jr., Anthony Black, and Jordan Walsh. That was one of those seasons where we had high level talent, but Nick Smith Jr. was injured the whole time. So we never really get those high level 5-star prospects that are going to go out and get highlight after highlight, high level offenses. We don't get that very often. So now that we have that with Coach Cal, we're going to be happy. We don't care that you guys had little success with him in the past few years. We do not care. I promise. All you guys talking about how we're going to regret this, we do not care. We had to sit with Coach Musselman, who ran the worst offense in the SEC, could barely coach a team, he was a good recruiter, but a bad team builder. We do not care. I promise we do not care. Anyways, moving on from that rant. Let's see. So Arkansas, we didn't shoot the ball particularly well. We shot 21% from the three-point line, but we ended up shooting 54% from the field and only 57% from the line, which is atrocious. That is not good at all. But the main thing you want to look at, yes, you didn't put up the points you wanted, but you didn't shoot the ball very well from three. The defense was insane. The guard combo of Boogie Flay and Janelle Davis and then DJ Wagner, they were giving people trouble on the perimeter. They were in passing lanes. They were getting pickpockets. They were guarding up incredibly well. And then you have on the back line, you have Zvonimir Ivisic, you have Trevor Brazil, who are both incredible shot blockers. And you also have Jonas Adu, who didn't play this much this game because he was injured. He's coming back from an injury, but he was an all-SEC defensive guy last year. Billy Richmond, Carter Knox and Adu Thiero were playing incredible defense on the perimeter. So the defense is there. That's not something you're going to have to worry about this season, but you are going to... The three-point shooting between this game and the 2 exhibition games has not been good. That's something I'd be a little worried about. That is something I would overreact to, is the shooting. But the overall success of this team, I would not worry about it at all. This team is... Every single player on the court plays defense. There's not a single player on this team who's a defensive liability. And that's pretty much all you can ask for from a team. So moving on to predictions, I'm going to start off with Auburn because, like I said, they play Houston. That is going to be a tough game. I think, Saturday. They play number 4 Houston. They're going to be a lot better of a shooting team. I believe they shot 50% from three-point the last game they just played. So that is something you're going to have to learn how to guard that perimeter shot because they did not guard it. And like I said, the team they played was bad, so they didn't really have to guard it, but that's something you're going to have to look out for. Kentucky, they're going to play another bad team, Bucknell. I don't know what they shot in their last game, but I would assume it's probably going to be the same outcome as the first game. You know what? Let me check. Before I start saying all this, let me look and see what they put up in their last game. They shot 52% from 3, and they shot 52% from the field. So this might be a little bit of a different outcome because both Auburn and Kentucky were not guarding the 3 at all. And I mean, like I said, they didn't really have a reason to, but I'm just saying these games could be real tests for both those teams in terms of the defensive end. I think the offense is still going to be there. Tennessee's playing Louisville. There's not much of a say there. Arkansas is playing Baylor, who just got obliterated by, absolutely obliterated by Gonzaga. Except Gonzaga's head coach their head coach's son did get absolutely murdered on a poster, and that was like a crazy poster by VJ Edcombe. He's really the only player who looked good in that game. I don't expect this game to go the same way. I would assume they're going to lose their ranking by Monday because they're still the 8th seed. Not lose it, but they're going to fall in the rankings for sure. I guess VJ Edcombe only put up 4 points, so I guess he just had that dunk and probably another layup or something. But you got 15 points out of I'm not even going to pronounce these names, but Baylor's going to be a competition for Arkansas, so we're going to get Arkansas fans. You're going to get a real look at your team that week. Let's look at Friday. I think we have Ole Miss versus Grambling. That's not really another big game. South Carolina does play South Carolina State. That's a little scary. Just because of the performance you got last game, you really want to see a bounce back from that. You just want to see more production out of other players that are not Colin Murray Boyles. Mississippi State, I'm not worried about your game against Georgia State. I'm not worried about Alabama versus Arkansas State. I'm not really worried about Texas A&M versus Texas A&M Commerce. You know, I would expect to win out of Texas A&M. You need a win, especially after your last game. I'm not really worried about it. Texas versus Houston Christian, not worried about it. Howard versus Missouri, not worried about it. I think Florida plays today. I'm not worried about their game against Jacksonville. It'll be a little tougher than their last game, but I'm still not worried about it. And I think that sums it up for this week's predictions. I guess I can probably look at the Monday game since I'm probably not going to upload by Monday. Alabama versus McNeese. They were a March Madness team last year. I'm still not expecting much out of that because it's Alabama. Grambling plays Florida, not expecting anything out of it. Missouri versus Eastern Washington, not expecting anything out of it. Lamar versus Texas A&M, not expecting anything out of it. And then we have Oklahoma versus Northwestern State, another game I'm not expecting anything out of. Since we're still in pre-SEC play, I'm not really going to be focused too much on predicting games because a lot of these, it's going to be Power 5 schools versus mid-major, so it's not much you can really expect. There are going to be upsets, of course, but it's hard to predict those. Just in terms of, covering every single game. The final thing I want to talk about before I go ahead and end this episode is it's going to be an overreaction. I'm going to 100% overreact and buy into the freshmen this year with the SEC. There's a lot of really good freshmen. You got a really good defensive performance out of Ja'Kai Howard this last game. LeBaron Philon looked amazing. Even though he didn't score a lot of points, he just looked so complete all around for this Alabama team. He was playing amazing defense. He was all over the place. You look at Arkansas, they have Carter Knox, they have Boogie Flam, they have Billy Richmond, all defensive dogs, and they can all score very effectively, amazing athletes. There are a lot of other freshmen I know for a fact that I'm missing that I cannot think of right now. There's a lot of good freshmen this year, especially whenever you look at last year. I would consider it's a down year for freshmen last year because I think the only 3 freshmen that got drafted last year, I want to say, is Justin Edwards, Reed Shepard, and Rob Dillingham. 3 Kentucky guys. I don't think anyone else from the SEC that were freshmen got drafted. Now, obviously, there was other SEC guys that got drafted, but in terms of freshmen, you look at Alex Condone. He's still over there in Florida. You look at Josh Hubbard is still in Mississippi State. Aiden Holloway is still in college. He's over at Alabama. So most of those guys that made the SEC freshman team they didn't get much draft buzz. I think this year is going to be completely different. You got the 29 points on 50% from the 3-point line. You got that from Trey Johnson. That was an amazing game. That was incredible. I might have to take back my statement on Boogie Fine being the freshman of the year. It'll be a really good race this year. I will say that. But Trey Johnson looked absolutely elite. And we know his ability to get to the rim and finish around the rim. He didn't have to do much of that. He was pulling up and making pretty much every shot, it felt like. He put on some weight. He's a lot bigger. He'll be a lot stronger. That's an exciting player. He's definitely going to be running for freshman of the year. It's going to be between him, Boogie. I could see LeBaron Filan making it in there too just because of how dominant Alabama is. There's definitely some good freshmen that I would look out for. Other than that, that is pretty much everything I want to talk about in this episode. I'm sorry if I didn't mention your team. I believe I mentioned every team for the most part. Like I said, the games weren't too great. There were definitely some good games, but for the most part, it's just blowout after blowout after blowout. The big games coming up, like I said, is going to be Arkansas versus Baylor. We're going to have Houston versus Auburn. There's going to be some good games coming up. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the top 5 segments that I brought in. I'm going to try and do that every single week. So if you have any suggestions of big plays that happen, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. You know, if you watch someone break someone's ankles, go back on this video, leave a comment down below if you want to see that make it into the next episode. And I know this episode's top 5 was all dunks. It's not going to look like that. I want to get defensive plays. I want to get big-time steals, big-time blocks, big-time turnovers. I want to get that in. I want to get someone breaking someone down, pulling up in the mid-range. I'm not going to ignore mid-ranges this year whenever it comes to the top 5. Buzzer beaters are obviously going to make it. I believe Missouri hit a buzzer beater. I think it was Missouri because I remember it being a yellow jersey that hit the buzzer beater. And I know it wasn't LSU because it was a Monday game. So I think it was Missouri hit a buzzer beater. I could be wrong, though. But yeah, I want to broaden it. I don't want it to just be dunks. That's pretty much the only thing I saw this week, though. It was just a lot of dunks. There were a few clips that could have happened, but they missed a shot or it didn't count because of offensive foul. I'm looking at you, Auburn. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching. Tune in for next week's episode. Hopefully it's a little better than this one. Hopefully the games are a little better. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.